Hello and welcome to the next part of our life. Last time we started finally the adult step, or let's call it, it's young adult, but they're 18, that's barely an adult really. And we, together with Cove, staked out to see who the new neighbor is gonna be, since the grumpy pair of the grumpy pair of grandparents that would always yell at every poor child in the vicinity would not rent out the condo anymore, so we have a new arrival this time, which you can see already. I think he's Baxter? I don't know how to pronounce his name actually. Baxter? Well, anyway. It was a young man, had to be close to your own age. He was dressed fully in an eclectic black, white and grey outfit. Even his side-swooping hair matched the sheen. The only other pop of color was from something that couldn't easily be fashioned into submission. A pair of dark brown eyes, which you caught when he looked over at his audience. Voice. Hello, folks. Who might you be? We're the neighbors. The smile already prominent on his face curled further. It was cocky, but you didn't get the impression that it meant something adverse. Hallelujah! You and Cove shared a familiar look with one another, bewildered even further. The color-coordinated man left it there, however, and with a firm click, he shut the door off his right. Then he turned his back to you to retrieve a large, unsurprisingly black suitcase out of the trunk. Continuing on with his own business, he strolled forward and lightly tapped on the driver's side window with his knuckles, asking for them to roll it down. When it opened, he leaned down and rested his arm on the edge. You assumed he was thanking the driver for getting him there, considering he slipped them a tip during the brief chat. They shook hands and then he pushed himself up and away from the taxi with both arms, giving the driver room to leave. The taxi pulled away, rolling carefully down the road and out of sight around the corner. The new renter had officially arrived. He left the suitcase on the ground out of the way of the street and sauntered over to your way, with the confidence of someone who had been invited to join. Cove finally stood up to greet this person and you followed suit.
Excellent.
Oh boy. I'm Baxter Ward. It's excellent to meet your neighbors. You were standing on the side he was approaching from. When Baxter got close enough, he offered his hand to you first. I mean, why not? He's offering a handshake, so... Baxter gripped your hand firmly to give you a satisfying shake. I'm Rina. Hello. It's nice to meet you, too. Okay. Hey, Rina. I'm quite keen on getting to know you better this summer. We could be good friends. From your other side, Cove made a sudden sputtering noise. And you are? He lifted his hand out to Cove next. Cove shook his hand, still eyeing Baxter carefully. I'm Cove. Baxter's whole demeanor lifted from unknown reasons. His eyes shone as he studied Cove for a moment. No, wait, is that a nickname or your real name? It's just my name. Cove spoke mildly, having given that explanation many times in the past, but it clearly charmed Baxter all the same. He tossed his head to one side with a laugh. Your parents knew exactly what they were doing. I can't imagine a more fitting name for the face I'm seeing. Cove, that's genius.
What?
It's really not. Let's agree.
Not bad.
Oh boy. That voice. Nice to see someone else knows. The impact might have faded for you living with it this long, but I promise to the onlookers it's a knockout. Cove couldn't face either of you after that. His cheeks were quickly turning bright red with embarrassment. You noticed that Baxter looked apologetic over Cove's increased discomfort. I'm sorry, it wasn't intended to mean more than it did. I like your name, but you don't have to mind that. I'm patently against stepping on anyone's toes. He chuckled to himself. It seemed like there was some extra meaning hidden there in his words, and you noticed that Cove raised an eyebrow, picking up on that too. Baxter stood up straighter, striking a slight pose with the position of his feet. He began to speak, but suddenly stopped and closed his mouth. He became absorbed in his own thoughts, tapping a finger to the side of his chin as he stared at you. You shot Cove a confused glance. He shrugged in response. After a few moments, Baxter had that same smile from before. He removed the finger from his face and used it to point directly at you. Don't point with a naked finger to dressed people. We've met before.
What?
Yeah, you were the one I was dancing with. Wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. What? When? Baxter continued to smile widely. His head tilted slightly to the side as he studied your visage. It's embarrassing, but I haven't remembered that part yet. He laughed cordially while Cove stared at him in disbelief. Baxter chuckled further, mouth growing at what must have been a very amusing situation in his mind. I'm getting there, don't tell me. I know you want to, but do not. It'll come to me. He continued looking you up and down, and back over his chin while he racked his brain for answers. And then recognition appeared in his eyes. With a snap of his fingers, he announced his revelation as though he had forgotten his own birthday. What? The cypress at Summer Serie, of course. Turning away from you, Baxter began rambling to himself about the details. That had to be before any originals. So at that time I was about 14 years old. That makes it 5 years ago from now, right? Cove's mouth fell open.
Seriously?
Are you kidding? Is he serious? Did you really meet this guy at the country club party 5 years ago? Yeah, I think I did. You nodded. It took his explanation to get it, but that memory of the dance you shared was coming back to you. Cove's eyes darted between you and Baxter again. The instigator of this discussion lightly gestured with his hands in response. It's good not to forget the face. He said I had nice legs. Okay, that would be kind of funny to mention it now, but I don't think Cove is the type to get jealous or something like that. Let's just explain it. I've never learned his name up until now, I guess. Huh. I'm feeling kind of lost here. You see, my parents are members of the Cypress. They happened to be passing through on a trip across different states when they heard about the event. Funnily enough, the entire reason they joined was for the connection they could make with other members there. Looks like that perk had finally hit for me too. Originally, I thought it was only any good, since I could occasionally dance there. Baxter suddenly stopped and stood up straighter. He grinned. Dance, oh yes, that's what I was going to say. I'm a ballroom dancer, hence the phrasing earlier. Oh. I don't know much about dancing, but it's pretty cool. It's not hard once you get the basics down. Cove didn't look convinced at all. Baxter took that as a cue to keep talking.
Well,
Well? He grinned in a way that was rapidly becoming familiar to you. If either of you are ever looking for a partner, I'm available. Cove frowned at the overhead forwardness. Thanks. I'll pass, I think. I don't know. Baxter nodded understandingly and let the subject go. After that, there was a lull in conversation, and Cove attempted to fill it. What made you decide on Sunset Bird? Ah, yes. Well, my parents rented a condo, so I had a place to stay while I'm off a semester from college and not living in the dorms. There was a playful glint in Baxter's eye as he continued.
honestly.
Ideally, they wanted to send me somewhere that wasn't too exciting, but luckily for me, they picked the wrong street, considering the two of you live here. Cove was practically reeling over how Baxter found a way to fit comments like that into every single topic thus far. Why do you keep doing that? You don't know us, but you talk like you already do. Cove spoke, firm, yet generally confused, and Baxter smiled cautiously. I don't feel the need to keep words of praise to myself, and when I say something, I mean it.
See?
Plus, what's the point of spending my off semester alone? The best part of being somewhere new is getting to interact with new people. Ah, you're an extrovert. Probably. Am I honestly the first person who acknowledged you are attractive and intriguing people? True, you are hidden away in a tiny tourist trap, but still. Baxter crossed his arms. After studying your faces a few more seconds, he decided to continue. Am I only trying to score a hookup or get a romantic fling started by saying those things? No. That isn't the point of speaking well of others. I was raised better than that. Good to know. Though I would be fast if that's what my words led to. Absolutely no. I am flexible, not a surprise, I can back off with the lines if you don't like the attention, but I would like to be friends, if we can. Cove wasn't sure how to respond. He glanced at you and he continued to look at your face when he spoke. Thanks for answering. I'm not interested in any of that with you. Maybe not the friend thing, but the other part. It's actually pretty entertaining. And as long as he doesn't get too close up and personal, he can keep speaking his mind. Or rather, let's say it doesn't bother me. He can do what he wants. Glad we're working things out. Shifting his weight to his other foot, Baxter tried to move forward. So, since you were both already out here, did my arrival interrupt anything? Definitely not. Yeah, let's just say what actually happened. We wanted to see who was coming to the neighborhood. That's why we're out here. Max laughed at that, immensely pleased with your response. I'm getting a reputation in this town already. Not bad. Well, if either of you are free, I'd be thrilled to hang out this summer, but we can save the scheduled talk for later. I should get my things inside. He gave a small nod to the head, and flashed you both with a dazzling smile. Goodbye for today. Bye. Cove gave a small wave as well. Bye. Baxter then turned on his heels and strolled back to his suitcase, picking it up and bringing it to his condo. You and Copper were silent as Baxter unlocked the door and disappeared inside the house. With him completely out of the scene, Copper let out a long breath.
Well,
I don't know how I'm gonna explain that guy to my dad. He burst into a fit of laughter trying to imagine the conversation. So, you like it when people say that sort of stuff about people? It's okay to do it? Never mind. At least the job is done. We saw the new neighbor and now we can go meet up with Terry and Miranda. Yeah, we should get going. You gave Baxter's counter one last glance over your shoulder. He's pretty much okay. The only thing I would be worried about his kind of person is if he got some wrong expectations out of me. He can certainly stay like that and have some fun, but don't expect anything of me, please. I think he was charming. You weren't really sure when, but at some point, Baxter won you over. You were curious to get to know him better. Laughing quietly, you wondered how Baxter would fit in with the rest of the neighborhood. Turning your attention back to Cove, you pushed all thoughts of Baxter aside. You both started making your way towards town. A little while later, you and Cove reached a main street in town. All of a sudden, you stopped walking. What's wrong? I think I felt my phone vibrate. You dug your cell phone out and looked at it with a satisfying grin. There was a new message. Before you could read it, you were distracted by a small amused noise from Cove. His head was slightly tilted to the side as you carefully looked at your old keychain. I can't believe you still have that. Of course I do. You meant it. The intensity of the words had Cove blushing and looking away from you. For a moment you were both at a loss for more words. You were sucked into remembering that day he bought it for you. Cove was the one who spoke up again.
it's nice.
I'm glad you like it. He looked back at you with a playful grin. Especially since it cost me a whole $6. That's like $30 in kids' money. His matter-of-fact tone had you laughing deep. You couldn't face him without starting all over again. Smiling, you refocused on the task at hand. You opened the new text from Miranda and all you saw was, "I can see you." Immediately from where you stood, you started swiveling your head around. You couldn't spot Miranda anywhere, but she did send you more messages. Haha, I can see you looking. The message was sent, and you were back to looking around, scanning for any sign of movement in familiar faces. But they were still invisible. Cove looked at you carefully, raising an eyebrow. If you wanna keep hiding Cove and I can just go down, do our own stuff without you, is what you decided on. Oh, that's kinda mean. You smirked, hitting send on that message. Cove looked at you, curious, raising an eyebrow. What's happening? Before you could even begin explaining anything to Cove, you both snapped your attention to the yelling from across the street. And there you saw Miranda and Terry coming out from behind the backside wall of the grocery store. They both started waving wildly to draw even more attention to themselves. Cove took a step in their direction. Grinning, he put his arms his hands around his mouth to better project his message across the street. Hey! Laughing and arm in arm, the girls stopped only to look both ways and then rushed across the empty street. Voice. Hi! I hope you weren't waiting too long.
Hey, buddies.
New character, new voice. What kind of voice do I give you? Oh well. I will probably get their voices mixed up anyway. Hey buddies! Hi. Waving. They giggled at that. Terry waved back at you and Miranda looked pleased that you weren't upset by her joke. Terry then closed the distance between her and Cove and crushed him in a painfully tight hug. You're finally here. It's been so long. What took you? He did his best to eke out a reply with his chest being compressed. Sorry. Eventually, she let him go. Terry looked at him with a beaming smile. But Cove was distracted, rubbing his arms. Standing there, Miranda shifted her weight to her other hip. She watched patiently with a bashful smile. Welcome back. Thanks. It finally felt official. Everyone was together in one place. From here, you weren't sure how often you would have another afternoon like this again. They didn't either.
So?
Cove! Terry poked Cove square in his chest. You're gonna have to get me your schedule by this time yesterday.
No way.
Not really possible, Terry, but I can say as soon as I know. So far, work hasn't said anything, but I can tell you I'm busy with ORCA activities. When Cove wasn't at his part-time job or pursuing his academic interests, he volunteered for the Ocean Restoration, a California affiliation, ORCA. The group focused on cleaning up beaches and removing pollution from the ocean. Cove always loved the sea. It didn't surprise you one bit when he started getting involved with them. I mean, why not? The big smash event for the year is coming up, isn't it? Yeah, there's not much more to do before then, but I'm kinda looking forward to the fundraising push. Hopefully we can pull it off. If anyone can do it, it's you two. And even if it goes really bad, it will still look good on a college application fee. I am very confused on why my PS4 is starting on its own. Why is my PS4 starting on its own? That should not happen, thank you very much. If anyone can do it, it's you two. Even if it goes really bad, it will still look good on a college application at least. That's true. Hey, guess what else? We don't have to stand here to say stuff. Let's go. I would like a meal now. Perking up, Cove nodded in agreement. Excited by the plan, you smiled. The four of you headed into town, happily chatting the whole way. The only decision left to make was where exactly to stop and eat. The rest of the afternoon and evening passed by in a blink of an eye. When night fell, it was time to head home, and you parted ways with Miranda and Terry. You and Cove reached your neighborhood without event. It was late enough that your out-of-the-way street was dark and silent. I am not that lazy, but he doesn't have to give me one every time, you know? But I would be very tired. You yawned, stretching your arms high over your head. It was taking a lot of mental focus to keep up and walk alongside Cove. And you did so. You peered at his face out of the corner of your eyes. You wondered why he felt so distant to you. It was out of character. For a while, Cove silently stared ahead and left you alone with your own thoughts. It surprised you when you did hear his voice all of a sudden. He still wouldn't look at you. It feels back coming back to the neighborhood and trying to get into things like they're the same. And they're not. They've changed. They're still changing. Your mouth felt uncomfortably dry all of a sudden. It was true, the things that kept the people you knew together were starting to disappear. Each person had to make their own priorities and their own path now that it wasn't set for them. You thought about your own immediate future. You were still set on that for yourself. You wanted... Well, I did go to university, so... And then to work full-time. For your career, you thought you would... what's it called when... I guess... company? I guess it's the closest. Because I'm guessing that contract work doesn't really fit it. And that was all. For your education, you thought you would... Public university... Do non-public universities exist? That's what's on. And for that you wanted to... I would prefer to stay local if possible. It would all be happening so soon. I mean, there's no reason to not tell people around you. Now you wondered what Cove had in his mind. You heard him consider some things for his future, but it was never anything that would have counted as a real plan. Making it back home, you both stopped in the middle of the street. Cove sighed. Cove looked at the ground for a moment. His mouth trembled, trying to settle on the right words to say. So, you're planning on working and stuff in Sunset Bird? You nodded. Your stomach felt like it was twisting into knots. Cove closed his eyes and nodded while he composed his thoughts. He looked at you when he lifted his head. I decided on something, well, kind of. He smiled slightly and rubbed his arm, and then his expression grew more serious. I'm not gonna decide on a school or a career, not this summer. I'm gonna stay here, at least in Sunset Bird. I'll probably move out of my dad's place. I'll keep working my job, keep doing my volunteer stuff, and everything else.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll know what I want for myself by fall. Or by next year. Or maybe I'll never have a plan. Life will continue on with whatever's happening. I'm not gonna crush myself trying to have everything figured out by a timeline that someone else has set. I just can't do it. His brow furrowed. and his tone was tense. It was clear how much expectations were waiting on him. It's a good outlook to have, though. The usual perfect plan is never gonna fit with everyone. I guess it'll be me and you right here for a while longer. His eyes were glossy. You weren't going to be separated, and that meant a great deal to him. I'm glad. I mean, why shouldn't I be? Elated, you smiled. Cove looked relieved that you were happy with this turn of events. Why wouldn't I be? I'll see you tomorrow, Rina. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night. He pulled you into an unexpected hug. It knocked the breath out of you, yet couldn't have been a more reassuring feeling. You returned his embrace and stayed that way for as long as you could.
Good night.
Night. He finally let go, giving you another smile. Then Cove started walking away, but you remained there, frozen in the middle of the street. You watched him and wondered, how many more times will you be able to say that he'll see you tomorrow? You hoped for countless more times. Finally, you turned towards your own house. You vowed to yourself that you would make the most out of every moment you had this summer. Okay, and this is where I will end the episode then for today. Next time we will start with the moments. So, until then, bye!